Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call as I was reading, right, doing my due diligence, I happened to come across this article that I found very interesting that I should share with the brotherhood, and it's on Blacklisted News. It says this here: the private Federal Reserve and theft of fractional reserve banking. So when you understand your enemy, when you understand warfare, you have to understand your enemy and the way he operates to be able to combat him. Scripture say we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. And in Sirach 12:10 it says that we ought to never trust our enemies, for as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Our main enemy being the so-called white man, who is the Edomite in the Bible. Okay, so it says banksters, monopoly press. So they show you this here. All right, show you this image. Basically showing you that the bankers have a monopoly over the printing of the money and over the financial sector, which gives them control over all sectors of life. All commodities. They have what's known as a hegemony over all industries. All right. So it says in 1913, the organized crime banking interests lobbied and bribed Congress to pass the Federal Reserve Act, which created the private Federal Reserve to backstop and legalize the ability of private banks to create money out of thin air and lend it at interest. The process is called fractional reserve banking. And the basics of the swindle is that when you go to the bank to get a mortgage, the bank is not lending you another depositor's money. That's fractional reserve banking. They're not lending you something that they got from somebody else. They're actually lending you fake money, because they only have to keep 10% of the reserve on hand at any given time. So let's say they have, I don't know, $100 billion worth of $100 billion in what you call assets. Only 10% has to be in actual physical hard cash to keep at hand at any time. That's why when there's a run on the banks don't have what's called liquidity. The banks don't have liquidity to give out the money that they're supposed to give out to the people, right? They don't have it. So what happens is that there's a run on the banks, and the people, they go to the bank and they can't take the money out the bank because there is no money to take out the bank, because it doesn't exist. It's set to be paid by all those borrowers that took out loans on money that doesn't exist, right? They have to pay that back, but that takes time, all right? And the people want their money now. See, so the depositors that put their money in the bank doesn't have their money. The bank has given it to other people. The bank is using it to invest. The bank is using it for home loans. The bank is using it, all right, for other stuff. The bank doesn't sit on money. The bank doesn't have really any money like that. They only have about 10% of what they show on their books. The rest of it is all given out on loans, on deals, you know what I'm saying? And it's all moving to generate more money, interest and stuff like that, usury. Because interest is basically usury. That's what interest is. Interest is basically usury, man. So you got to know this devil and how he works. So one of his blessings is the sword, but another one is one of the tools that he uses. One of his main destructive tools is that money, that monetary system, that coin. He's become a master at manipulating markets, manipulating trends, you know what I'm saying, manipulating resources. He's become a master at the game called monetary system. All right, he's become a master at this. So it says, they simply create the money with a few strokes on the keyboard, and the average person spends the rest of their life paying interest on a loan created out of thin air. So that loan that they gave you is basically funny money. You're paying back real money. You as the client, or the loanee, if you will, the borrower, you're the one that's giving them real money. You spend time, you work the job or whatever you did, right, to generate this money so that you can pay back the loan that they gave you, that they created out of thin air. You see, most of the time when they loan you out money, it's not the money that they physically have on file. It's the money that they create out of thin air through the process of fractional reserve banking, which fractional reserve banking is one of the tools that Esau uses for destruction. So you have to know your enemy, and you have to know how your enemy operates and the tools that he uses. Okay? And this is one of those tools. Fractional reserve banking. So it says, the average person spends the rest of their life paying interest on a loan created out of thin air. If a bank gets in financial trouble and or experiences a run on the bank where depositors begin to pull out their money, the Fed steps in and provides the troubled bank or banks unlimited capital to maintain faith in the crooked system. You see, so that's how the bank works. The banks get bailed out. Look at 2008. The banks got bailed out. Look at these recent banks that went down. Damn, I forget the name of Silicon Valley. Yeah, Silicon Valley Bank. Then you had another bank that went down. Few more banks that went down, right? And who stepped in? Daddy government. The white man, the government, stepped in, took the assets, went up there and took the assets under management, gave the depositors their money, whatnot, created out of thin air, as always. The money is printed. A lot of it is funny money, because Esau could just, we just create 100 billion. We just create 100 billion out of nowhere. Well, what do you need? You need what to cover your debts and liabilities? Okay, here you go, 10 billion. Take that on top of another stimulus package of 5 billion. This is just what he does. This is his kingdom, and this is how he operates in his crooked system. Okay, it says the theft of inflation. So the people at the top are causing inflation to come about for you lower class citizens, which is basically all of us. We're all lower class citizens. I don't care if you make 10 mil a year or whatever, you're still a lower class citizen. I mean, even though you enter into a different tax bracket, but you don't run things at the top. You know what I'm saying? You don't make monetary policy decisions and things of that nature. Because we're dealing with global power here. We're dealing with global power. The movers and shakers, if you will. The true movers and shakers. So the true movers and shakers are not millionaires. We're talking about billionaires and really trillionaires, man. Like the Rothschilds. They're the ones responsible for this fractional reserve banking, for the rules that we have in place today that govern monetary activity, economic activity. This is governed by the Rothschild, the Rockefellers, you know what I'm saying, the banking families at the top. You devils, you small headers, because you small headers are the ones. You small headers are the ones that's responsible for all this stuff that's going on. See? So it says, in addition to the inherent unfairness of allowing certain companies, the banks, right, the monopoly of privilege of creating money, it says the process steals the purchasing power from the dollars earned and saved by everyone else in society. See? See that? So, as they continue to print the money and do all this shit with the money, right, and mess with the dollars that you have in your pocket are worth less and less. See, they're worth less and less. They're not worth it the same as they used to. You know, they're not worth the same as they were before because of the printing, quantitative easing. As banks create more and more dollars, the excess dollars begin to compete with the dollars in the existing market, bidding up the prices and simultaneously reducing the purchasing power of existing dollars in circulation. This is the main reason why the cost of almost everything in the economy, housing, healthcare, education, energy, is going up when absent the organized crime money system. When absent the organized crime money system, costs should be going down as innovations and productivity improvements reduce the costs associated with producing the necessities and luxuries of everyday life. Not only is society being robbed by the inflationary theft of rising prices, but it is being robbed of the reduced costs and growing purchasing power that would exist absent the organized crime banking system, absent the anomalies of hot housing markets and hot stocks. It isn't the value of your home and portfolio are rising. It is now simply Salakia. Let me read that back again, the last part, because some of this stuff is kind of you gotta read it slow, right? Basically, what they're saying is that the money that you have is worth less and less, right? Because of what these devils are doing behind the scenes, you know. Because of what these cracker devils are doing behind the scenes, they're destroying what it is that you work for as a free American citizen, you know. As they would have you believe, but you're not free. You're in debt slavery to this white man. You're in debt slavery to this red devil. You belong to him through the process of debt slavery, through the IOU, through the birth certificate. You know what I mean? You're in debt slavery to this fucking white man, to this cracker, to this cracker. You know? This is why this devil got to be taken out of power, man. So let me read that again. It says, absent the anomalies of hot housing markets and hot stocks, it isn't the value of your home and portfolio are rising. It is now simply takes more rapidly depreciating dollars to buy the same amount of housing and stocks and goods because your money's worth less. It says the results of Monopoly. Imagine you're playing the game Monopoly with a group of people where the banker is cheating and giving himself unlimited funds. It says at the end of the game, who owns everything on the board and who are renters and debtors. The ability to create money out of thin air has enabled the banks to buy, consolidate, and weaponize the media into nothing but deception and distraction. Provide unlimited funds to a small handful of organized crime companies to consolidate their own industries and trade as a cartel. Yep. And because they're all in on it, and they're all part of that new world order. It says, yep. Unfortunately, the death of the dollar appears to be approaching, and the organized crime system behind the government, fractional reserve banking, and control of the perception media appear to be whoring out the U.S. dollar as the information revolution begins to expose the theft of trillions Could wiping out the U.S. dollar and taxes and the tax slaves be in the cards? Definitely. Yeah, because they want to bring in that MOTB, right? You know. So yeah, that was just the article. You know, I just wanted to touch on this real quick, man. You know what I'm saying? This is one of Esau's devices, man. Which we're not ignorant to his devices, man. You know, this is one of his devices that he uses to fuck with the people. You know, mess with their money. You know, it's how he controls the society through the monetary policy. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So this is why we touch on these things, so brothers could be educated on these type of topics, man. But with that, you know, just a quick hitter. I'm gonna say call halayim la yahau by Shimei Shai by Shimon Kakodash, the bonds to the possible millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.